the first wide-angle story that we're taking on the show. That is Modi 3.0's first budget that will be unveiled on 23rd of July. And what I am interested in, and what I'm very sure the viewers are interested in knowing, is whether it will get India on the superpower highway or not. The budget comes at a time when the government needs to balance its coalition compulsions. It needs to boost demand. It needs to align India to global supply chains. And it needs to ensure that manufacturing ambitions of India that have been in the pipeline for decades finally take off. And let's get down to those issues. Let's understand what's needed and the India Ascends Action Plan. The Indian economy grew at a world-beating 8.2% last year, but that is not the pace at which Indians are spending, which means we need to give more money into the hands of Indians. In rural India, Manrega wages have to be increased. That's what the Budget Action Plan of India Ascends says. Increase it by 50%. Increase it from 267 rupees per day to 400 rupees. They will spend on everything in the rural economy, from bikes to cycles to tractors. Everything will go up, including personal consumption. On the urban Indian side, tax slabs need to be relaxed. Likewise, spends have to go up, from cars to ACs to houses. Everything will go up only when people have more money in their hands. India is a consumption economy, but that doesn't mean we don't need to boost our manufacturing sector. We've got some initial successes with the PLI scheme. We've created world-class companies, and by all parameters, those numbers are telling you on your screens. Investments, sales, jobs, exports, on all parameters, the PLI scheme has been a booster shot for manufacturing. Exports have jumped, and a lot of investments have come in, but it now needs to extend to the smaller companies, MSMEs. They are the backbone of manufacturing. It doesn't sit on a handful of big corporates. It sits on those MSMEs. And that is where job-intensive sectors like leather, gems and jewelry, handicrafts, garments, all that come into play. And they need to be part of PLI 2.0 for a real game changer to happen as far as manufacturing is concerned. That's the other India Ascends Action Plan, which is that make PLI scheme 2.0, which extends to MSMEs and get on to some of those job-creating sectors being part of it. In this decade, Indians are set to witness the transformation of the Indian economy into a $7 trillion powerhouse by 2030. We say that, road to $7 trillion. But for that, infra investments are equally important. The government put in 11 lakh crore earlier, and they need to amp it further. Why? Because logistics are very important. Logistic costs in India is still very high. To bring that down, we need to have infrastructure investments. Here's a statistic, viewers, very important. We are still catching up on the semiconductor chain. The first chip factory that will come up at Gaurie, the Tata factory, is going to produce 28 mm of that chip, as against a 2 mm chip that Taiwan is manufacturing. Look at the journey we need to traverse. And that requires a combination of SOPs, focus, and targeted government policy. And that is how you bridge this tech gap that impacts us economically, it impacts us politically, and it needs to be closed. And I'm hoping that the revamped PLI scheme, the focus on better logistics, should be part of a plan to attract big-ticket investments. And Invest India needs to revamp further to attract those large investments like the ones we talked about in those chip factories. This budget should be a step in that direction. That's what the India Ascends Action Plan says.